Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be testing out and doing a first impressions and review on the new Becca Be a Light palette. It's very reflective, so hopefully it's not blinding you, but this palette was absolutely beautiful. It was hyped up. I saw all the influencers that attended the launch party for this, and I just got suckered into ordering it on Sephora as soon as it was available, and I've been waiting to try it out so that I could film it for you guys and show my true first impressions of it. So if you want to see how I used it to get this makeup look right here and all my opinions on it, then please keep watching. So my makeup is mostly done. I've applied foundation, concealer, I've set my concealer, I've done my eye makeup and all that. The only thing left to do is break into this beautiful palette, which hopefully is not blinding you. And there's 4 shades here. There's 2 light ones that are supposed to be for setting the whole face, 1 contour and 1 blush. So I think what I'm gonna do is start out with this darker one to set the whole face and try to do that, because the lighter one to me just looks a little bit more like a highlight type shade, and I'm a little scared to put it all over, so I'm just taking this Real Techniques multitask brush and dipping into this darker one, and we'll see how this goes. So I've kind of powdered all over with this darker one, and it doesn't look too bad, it's just a little bit dark, so I'm going to take some of the light as well and kind of go over top, because I think a mix of the two might be a good match for my skin tone. This white one's just a little too light, and then the slightly darker one was kind of giving a slight tint to my foundation, making it look a little bit too dark, so maybe I should have gone in with the light one all over. Okay, but now that everything's on, I think I forgot to say as well, for my foundation I used my Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Wear Hydrating Foundation, and I have this in the shade 1.1, which I really like. I'm a huge fan of this foundation and color match for me. But just coming in closer, my skin just does look very, not shiny, but it does look very glowy, I would say for sure. I think I'm a little nervous because I'm oily that this is going to get greasy right away, and it definitely didn't blur over any pores too much. I can still definitely see all my large pores, especially in this area and on my forehead, but from far away it actually looks pretty good. I'm looking in the mirror here just trying to inspect how it's looking, but overall pretty glowy, so can't give it a final judgment yet. And now for the contour shade, I'm going to go in with my NARS Ita brush first and pick up some of that dark brown contour shade, and I'm first going to put it on my nose. This actually might be really beautiful because something kind of luminous like this will look really natural on the nose. Oh yeah, I like that. It's really subtle but does kind of define the nose and not look too crazy. So I'm going to take a little bit more and try to define the rest of the face. The only thing that I don't like about this contour is that it's so skinny that I feel like I can't use a big brush and kind of pick it up and diffuse it all over the face like I would want to. But I'm just picking up the product with this MAC 168 brush to get something a little bigger than the Ita, just to kind of blend it all over. And right off the bat, this isn't very pigmented. I think I have the palette for like light to medium skin tones, I think it is, and I think there's a medium to dark one as well. So I think if you're any darker than super fair like me, probably the medium to dark one would be better for the contour, just because this is very kind of light and natural looking, nothing too dark. I can't even hardly see it on my forehead in person. Maybe it's looking really orange and dark on camera, I don't know, but it's really subtle in person. So I kept trying to pack a bunch on there, but again, it's very subtle, but the overall look is still really beautiful right now. So let's move on to blush. I'm going to use this little NARS blush brush and pick up some of the blush in here. And this whole palette, especially this blush, is giving me like Hourglass vibes. Whoa, that's really shimmery. That looks almost like a highlight, not like a blush. And the blush is actually really pigmented, but it does have a lot of shimmer in it. So in certain lights, it just looks kind of like a white beaming kind of like highlight look and not really like a bright pink pigmented blush. But then in certain other lights, it does look pretty pigmented. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. And then I'm just going to finish off with a highlighter, and I'm going to use my little mini Becca Opal highlighter just because I think that the tone of this will go well with the overall palette. And there's not really a highlight shade in here, although I guess these 2 big ones could be highlights, but they say they're for all over the face. So I'm going to go in with Opal just because I think this will complement the whole look really well. Okay, so the full makeup look is finished now, and I actually really like the way it came out. It looks really beautiful and soft. This is kind of a nice like candlelit glowy makeup look that would be really great for every day. I think this is really beautiful for a date night kind of look. You'll look just like really glowy and fresh and just like romantic and soft looking. But for every day, I'm a little concerned, since I do have oily skin, that this powder won't hold up with all my oils because I already kind of look a little shiny. But if you have dry skin or you're going for that super glowy look, then you would definitely love this palette. Another thing I think I noticed about this now that I've kind of played with this, I was expecting this shade to be a little bit more of a highlight and then this one to be a little more of the setting like shade for me, but I actually think that this is a better setting powder and this one can kind of be a cheek, like maybe a subtle contour kind of look. I mean, the dark contour is already really subtle, but this I think is kind of more of just something for the cheeks. It's a little too dark because overall looking in the mirror, I think I just look a little bit too much darker than my neck, and it's not kind of blending seamlessly like I would like. So I tried to kind of bring the contour down a little bit. Maybe I'll try to do a little bit more, but it's still just not quite matching up. So for me, it's just a little too dark. But this palette really reminds me of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette, you know, the one with the 6 shades from Hourglass. And these shades look a lot like their ambient lighting powders. This looks a lot like their, I think it's called Diffused Luminous Light or something like that, whatever their bronzer is. And this looks a lot like their blushes, and the way that they look on the skin is also very similar to those. So I think if you have the Hourglass powders, you don't need this palette. It's kind of a one or the other thing. I use them in the same way that I would use that Hourglass palette. But overall, it is a super beautiful look. I mean, the packaging of this is super luxe. But for me personally, I wouldn't really travel with this because I would want a more mattifying powder to bring with me depending on what kind of look I would do. I wouldn't want to bring these 2 huge luminous setting powders and just a super small, like, subtle contour and glowy blush. I feel like I have other palettes that like work better for the kind of makeup that I do day to day, but again, it is still super beautiful and I really like it. And if you like the glowy makeup look or you have dry skin, then you definitely love it. And I'm going to try to check in with you guys in a little bit to see how everything wore, so stay tuned. Alright guys, that's it. This is my final review on the Becca Be a Light palette. I really like the way my makeup came out today. I'm kind of a fan of this, but I think I wouldn't use this every day. I think it's a little expensive to try to invest in if you are expecting to use this every day if you have oily skin. If you have dry skin and you go for that super glowy, super shimmery all over look, then this palette would be absolutely beautiful. But if you have oilier skin and you want something to kind of mattify the T-zone and then provide some like glowiness on the cheeks, this just isn't the like right palette for you, I don't think. But it is absolutely beautiful. It does really remind me of the Hourglass palettes. And once again, if you have the Hourglass palettes, I don't think that you need this one, but it's just so beautiful. I mean, look at this. So I mean, the other nice thing, it has a huge mirror. It just has a nice message, be a light, spread the love, you know, it's very positive feeling. So if that makes you feel better about purchasing it, go ahead because it is a little pricey. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my honest thoughts on this palette and seeing how everything applied on my skin. This was the final look, and hopefully this video helps sway your opinion on whether or not you're going to purchase it. As always, all the products that I'm wearing I'll list in the description box down below if you're curious. Please comment and let me know what you thought of this video, and I'll see you guys next time.